Good evening, Yorktown, and welcome to the Town Board meeting for June 1st, 2021. I ask that everyone please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I ask that you join us in a moment of silence. Yesterday we celebrated, but remember, Memorial Day. Memorial Day, as we said multiple times at the many ceremonies that we had, is a day of remembrance, a day of remembering the cost for the freedoms that we all get to enjoy and prosper from. And so today we have a special prayer and a special moment of silence for the men and women who sacrificed themselves in the name of freedom. Because we all know freedom isn't free, and it's paid for at a steep cost, that of the men and women of the United States military. And so we say a special prayer for them this evening. And I also ask once again that we keep in our thoughts and prayers the family of Sal Rivera, an employee of the town of Yorktown for 19 years, who passed away last week. Today was his funeral. And we say a special prayer for Sal, for his family, for his friends, and for his co-workers at the Senior Nutrition Center, and all those who were lucky enough to know this great man. Thank you.
Amen.
Introductions quickly. Again, Supervisor Matt Slater, joined by Councilman Tom Diana, Councilman Ed Lachterman, Councilman Vishnu Patel. Councilwoman Roker is not with us today. She's preparing for her daughter Courtney's wedding, and we congratulate Courtney and her entire family on such a great occasion and wish them well. We are also joined by our town clerk, Diana Quast, and our town attorney, Adam Rodriguez. Start off with a couple of announcements. I want to begin with an item. It's unfortunate that we have to address it, but I think it's important. You know, as town board members, we take seriously our duties to protect confidential investigations undertaken by the town's ethics board. We do that so that these investigations are not contaminated or undermined. Last week, it was revealed in the Yorktown News that a confidential ethics board memo was shared with the press, which constitutes a significant breach of town policy. For these reasons, the town board intends on moving forward with the process of appointing a special counsel to investigate the improper disclosure of confidential ethics board records. We take this matter very seriously, and anyone found to have violated the protocols will be held fully accountable. We were ready tonight to move this forward, but at the request of Councilman Patel to lay it aside so that the full town board will be present to vote for it, we will wait until next week to formally adopt the resolution appointing special counsel. From a COVID standpoint, only one new active case today, reported by the Department of Health, down to 27 cases out of a town of over 36,000. So we continue to make progress. As a reminder, Town Hall is fully accessible to the public from the hours of 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. All guests are asked to wear a mask. On Friday night, we had a sodium hypochlorite solution spill at the Brian J. Slavin Aquatic Center. 1,400 gallons had leaked from a cracked container. Thankfully, there was no contamination of the nearby stream and no impact on the neighborhood. Thanks to the quick work of our Parks Department, the Mohegan Lake Volunteer Fire Department, and also their professionals, the Westchester County Hazmat Team. We quickly mobilized. We brought in the Miller Environmental Group, and they were able to transfer the liquid into a frac tank, and they plan on now transferring that liquid into a stainless steel tanker trailer and properly disposing of it. Again, I want to give special thanks to the Mohegan Lake Fire Department, the Westchester County Hazmat Team, who was on scene and responded immediately. I want to thank our Highway Superintendent, Dave Paganelli, who was on scene, as well as Councilman Diana. We also had with us a special thanks to Andrew Serrato, the Parks employee who manages that facility and was the one who discovered the leak in the liquid, as well as Barry Geldman, who was on site with us, and Jim Moderano, our Parks and Rec superintendent, who was there until close to 1 o'clock in the morning until the job was completely finished. We were incredibly lucky. The good news is that the pool is planned to be opening as scheduled this Saturday, despite the spill. And we've been assured by our parks staff that the facility is indeed safe, and again, will be operational this Saturday, as well as the pool at Junior Lake. So we're very excited and pleased to hear that. For the public, the annual drinking water quality report has been released by the Water Department. You can find that either on our website, and this is what it looks like. You can find it on our website, or there's copies outside of the clerk's office, and it details the report of our drinking water. Important to note that it does provide detail. As we all remember, there was that one test, which we consider an outlier test on May 5th of 2020, which people did receive notification for in the mail. But overall, again, we continue to enjoy very high quality and safe drinking water for the town of Yorktown. On Thursday, I joined Highway Superintendent Paganelli over at Hill Boulevard. They had the precast concrete for Hill Boulevard Bridge was delivered to the site and placed on the foundation. A total of 11 sections, each weighing 33 tons, were installed. The main structure of the bridge is now complete. Work will continue throughout the month to continue to backfill the structure, install the wing walls, reinstall utilities, and other tasks that are required to complete the bridge. We should be better able to project the completion date in a couple of weeks. So we are nearing the end of this project as well. We also have a quick update on fluoride, courtesy of the engineering department. Most of the utility work in the road has been completed, and the electrical contractor is working inside of the building now. The contractor is installing the electrical panel, heaters, control panel, and other wiring required for the system. It's anticipated the general contractor will return next week to make the final connections of the injection and sampling lines. The sewer pump station will also be installed during this phase. Our engineering department reports they experienced difficulty shutting down the 24-inch transmission main. The shutdown was required to install the connections of the injection line and sampling line. The valve cannot be closed to allow this work to be performed at a safe pressure. The water department made a great effort to exercise valves until the valves could seat properly for the shutdown. They were able to remove a stubborn air release valve. And so we thank the water department for their collaboration and help on the project. We are happy to announce the winners of our food recycling logo competition. Lucia Roberta submitted a design that will be placed on reusable tote bags. And the second place winner, Becky Woolley, her design will appear on the top of the recycling bin's lids. The food scrap recycling logos are inspired by environmentalism, waste reduction, and composting. And this is a great effort we believe is on track to be implemented at the end of the month. And we thank our refuse and recycling department for their continued work on that. I also want to thank especially our friends at T-Town who helped judge the logos that were submitted by so many great artists. And so to all those who participated, thank you very much. There are volunteer opportunities for the town of Yorktown. We're always looking for some great volunteers. The library is looking for a new library trustee. The information can be found on the town's website. You can contact Kathy Ritchie, who is the president of the library board. We are also looking for interested volunteers for our planning board, our conservation board, and the tree advisory commission. Our next drive-in movie. We have been doing these drive-in movies since last year. Our next drive-in movie will be on June 10th at 8:30 p.m. at the Jefferson Valley Mall. We'll be featuring Jurassic Park, the original. It's $5 a car. And again, big thanks to the Jefferson Valley Mall and our Parks and Rec department for keeping this going and putting this event on. On June 10th, there'll be a special meeting of the town board. It will be for executive session for the purpose of interviewing applicants for our environmental consultant. As a reminder, an RFP did go out similar to the traffic consultant, but this is for an environmental consultant. We did receive five proposals. So the town board, just as we did with the traffic consultant, will be meeting June 10th in closed session to interview those who applied. And lastly, last few items are high note items. I want to congratulate a great guy from Yorktown, Father Bobby Carolyn, who grew up here in Yorktown, graduated the Yorktown School District. His family and he, longtime members of Elizabeth Ann Seton Parish. Bobby is now Father Bobby Carolyn, as he was ordained by Cardinal Timothy Dolan over the weekend, and I had the great pleasure and honor of participating in his first Mass, which occurred right here in Shrub Oak at Elizabeth Ann Seton, his home parish where he was raised. So to Bobby and his family, congratulations again to Father Carolyn, a great accomplishment. And as I told him, just know how proud your family is, how proud your friends are, and how proud your town is of your accomplishment. I do want to end on a couple of thank yous. I want to thank our county legislator, Vidat Gashi. County Legislator Gashi called me over the weekend, over the holiday weekend, even though it's a 3-day weekend, but it's really to remember those great sacrifices that have been paid. But he did call me over the weekend because he'd stumbled upon offensive graffiti along Route 118. And he jumped right into action, reported it to the police department, and called me. And he was on his way to Lowe's and picked up some graffiti remover. And we met out at 118 and we removed some terrible graffiti that very many people, I believe, in this town would find offensive. And so this is just another reminder to those who are looking to divide us by hate-filled rhetoric that every time you do, this town will reject it every single time. And so to our county legislator, Vidat Gashi, thank you again for your leadership and for catching that terrible graffiti and for helping us clean it off. And the last two people I want to really thank, I want to thank our Councilman Tom Diana. We had Memorial Day yesterday, as I said earlier. We paid great tribute to the Vietnam veterans, to the World War II veterans, to all those who made the ultimate sacrifice in the name of freedom. And Councilman Diana quarterbacked the Vietnam veterans ceremony as well as the Shrub Oak ceremony. Councilman Diana, you did a heck of a job, and it was a great morning. That you did a great job putting all that together. And I also want to thank Bill Goss. Bill Goss was the parade coordinator from American Legion Post 1009, and it was an abbreviated parade, but it was a good parade. And we had a great crowd along the streets celebrating and paying tribute to, again, those brave men and women who sacrificed themselves for us, for our freedoms. And again, to Bill and to the American Legion and to the VFW, thank you again for your leadership. And thank you again for ensuring that the parade was done in a proper and successful way. And that concludes my report to the town. We'll go over to Councilman Tom Diana.
Thank you, Supervisor. Hello, Yorktown. And I hope everybody was able to attend at least some portion of a Memorial Day ceremony honoring the ones that gave so much for our freedom. And thank you, Matt, for the kind words on the putting together the couple little ceremonies that we had. I just want to say that the VFW the Legion did a heck of a job putting together the parade, as you said, Matt, and the Legion put on a little bit of a feed, so to speak, afterward. I'm sorry, the VFW put on a little bit of a feed, so to speak, afterwards. And it was really a great time. It was great to see people's faces out there again. It was such a difference than it was last year, where people were kind of taken down. And I had said last year, no matter what, if I was the only one standing in front of the Shrub Oak Honor Roll, I was going to have some type of ceremony. But thank you, everyone who participated. And I think that's about all I have.
Thank you, Councilman Diana. Go over to Councilman Patel.
Oh, I have a lot of things to do, but I will not repeat anything said by other people, okay? So one thing I want to ask the board, the sodium hypochlorite, I didn't know about that thing, because I am the expert on a chemical. I know there are 30 million known chemical. I know every functional group, So please make sure that I'm the first one to know, because I was on the safety board for IBM, 36 years, okay? That's right. And let me just say something else. The first thing first, memorial. Yorktown, the Lakeland School District, class of 2001, graduate Clayton Carpenter. He was running with my daughters in a long distance, and also our supervisor also used to run together. West Point graduate, class of 2005, and our daughter is 5. He died serving the nation. So let me say to you and the world, he has received more than 125 or 26, memorial thing at his grave in Washington, D.C. And after the ceremony, I went with her. We go every year, and then just to spend little time with her. And it has a special tradition for us, because our children were there together at the West Point as well as at the Fort Campbell. And our daughter, and our son, and the Clayton supposed to come, and he was going to introduce his fiancée to his mom, and he died before he came there. So I asked the nation and the people in the town, fill up a drop of water in your eyes and say a prayer. And also the Gold Star mother and the family, we honor you on a Memorial Day. This is my little things. And there are other 4 things I want to talk about it, is one of the town employees, Sal. He passed away due to the COVID. Let me say to you, I have more pictures of dancing and music provided by him, and I'm going to give it to his family. And I think we should do something really good for him. I spoke to Dave, one of his colleagues over there, and whenever it's possible, he has made so many people dance, the senior citizen, every occasion in the entire year, really. What a great man, and it's wonderful. So condolences from the entire town board and town of Yorktown. May we keep in his prayer. And another thing, I just want to say something. I planted some flags at the gazebo, somebody took away. Guys, I'm warning you, you take it away every day. I'm going to plant new. Every day I come and plant it. Don't worry about that, okay? Every day. 360, I'm going to order 1,000, okay?
I'll help you.
And another thing I want to say to the town, Pet Your Garden, such a beautiful ceremony yesterday. But now the snapping turtles are laying the eggs, and looks like making a mess. And then a hungry predator comes at night and dig it up. But please do not work, because sometime when they are there, if you are nearby, you can get hurt pretty badly, So one more thing I want to just say about it, about the COVID, really. It's a good relief for the entire country, but please be aware, when you go inside and you have a large number of people, me personally, I urge you to keep with a safe distance or mask, because some of the people, they don't have vaccination, and you're going to ask them whether they were vaccinated or not, and you cannot ask it, or this is their own choice. So please be safe, be well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Patel. And I want to just apologize for not probably notifying you on the pool issue. I had a personal emergency arise Saturday morning, and it just completely slipped my mind. And as for Clayton Carpenter, his mother, one of the best people I've ever met. And for those of you in Yorktown who come down 118, I'm looking at it right now, the Clayton Carpenter Memorial Highway, right outside the window here. And that's named for this young man, Lakeland High School grad, best of the best. Really, it really was. And what you see there is Councilman Patel with his son Amit, who I graduated high school with, standing at Clay's grave with Mrs. Patel on their side as well. And just a true American hero right there. Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Lachterman?
Just say 1 second.
Yes, sir.
This is the picture. My wife, our son, and myself, we were at his grave site last year. It was unbelievable. And our son has flown over that in an Army helicopter over there with the Secretary of the Army's helicopter. There are two of them, lad and his buddy. They took an entire site of the entire complex at the White House and all that. And he has a video there. But this is the most important picture. I will give it to her. I think my son already sent it to her, you know.
Councilman, can you hold it up a little bit? Hold it up a little bit more. Show the bottom picture. The bottom, nope, higher. There you go. The bottom picture would be Councilman Patel's daughter on the right, Amy, with Major Carpenter, and that's at West Point.
And this was a bar pinning ceremony. So the flag holder was Amit and Clayton Carpenter, and then next to him was his mentor, the higher officer from their company. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Councilman, and to Major Carpenter's mother, Colette, who lives right up the street here. We again send you our heartfelt thoughts and prayers, and continue to pray for you and your family, especially this past Memorial Day. Councilman Lachterman?
Yes, thank you, and thank you for sharing those pictures, Councilman Patel. First, I want to start off with a, just letting the public know that the PD had received a letter commending the work of 3 of our officers on a welfare check for someone's sister. So that those were Officer Byers, Murphy, and Batista. So thank you guys for helping alleviate the fears that woman had for her sister, and handling that welfare check as well as you did. We also should give a special shout out to Bear. Bear is a German Shepherd who notified his owner of a fire that had broken out at the Assembly of God Church over on the other side of Mayapack Avenue, still in Yorktown Heights, and was able to save the church because of the barking and alerting his owner to the fire next door at the church. In addition to our town board meeting on June 10th, I know we spoke about it in pretty big detail at one of our meetings recently, but Kevin Hines, right, the young man who had tried to commit suicide by jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge, will be actually doing a Zoom or online presentation with the Alliance for Safe Kids, and that will be next Thursday, June 10th at 7:30 p.m. So for those of you that are disappointed that our special meeting is actually a closed meeting to do interviews, here's something to keep you excited through the night. There is a link. There is a link that's probably available through the Ask website, but it's https://bit.ly/ask_Kevin. If anyone, I'll put it up in the messaging, so if anyone wants to look on the Zoom, you should be able to see it there. And I don't know if Tom could get that up eventually. And then the last thing I just wanted to talk about, or just pass on the compliments to the Sons of the American Legion. We got a tremendous amount of comments during the parade and afterwards about the military tribute banners that are hanging in town. as well as the honor flags that are now up on Clayton Carpenter Highway, around Railroad Park and some at Veterans Park as well. And that's a project the Sons of the American Legion were doing for veteran services. And you can find out more about those programs at sal1009.org. And that pretty much covers it for me, except, I do want to, once again, we had the great tribute in our town with the parade for Memorial Day, and we were able to celebrate and commemorate the heroism that makes America as great as it is. And I just think that it's appropriate with Memorial Day weekend to also recognize that a week later, we will be recognizing D-Day and the Normandy invasions, which took a lot of our young men from us. So, please, say those special prayers for our military each and every day as we go forward.
Thank you, Councilman Lachterman. Our highway superintendent, I don't believe he's on. He's recovering from an eye procedure today, and we wish Dave all the best in his recovery. And we will now go on. We have a presentation from the Alliance for Safe Kids. And we are joined, of course, by the one and only Liz Talbert. Hi, Liz. Nope, we got you. Take your time.
She's in no sound.
Yeah, she's got to connect to the sound there. Who was telling me? I forget who it was. I think it was one of our employees. She got it. There you go, Liz. But they saw like one of those sayings, like those black bar sayings that go on your desk. Diana, were you telling me this? And it said, "You're muted."
No, now she's not muted. Okay, he's muted.
I forget who was telling me that today. That's funny. Hey, Liz, how are you?
That is funny. Hi, Matt. Hi, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. I want to thank you very much for allowing me to join you this evening to share some updates from ASK. First, I want to apologize. You mentioned that Dave had an eye procedure. I had a very late in the day visit with my eye doctor, and my eyes are still dilated. So if I have to refer to my notes and kind of stare at them for an extra moment, just please forgive me.
No worries.
But I wanted to thank you all so very much for your continued support that has allowed ASK to make very good use of some county funding, that came our way. And so for the past few months, I have been able to coordinate different presentations and bring different resources to the community for free, which is really, awesome for everyone in the community to take advantage of them. So, we had Dr. Mikey Fallon back in March, and he addressed the topic of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We had a wonderful turnout for that. And in addition, we surveyed everyone who was in attendance, and we got some really insightful feedback. And we felt that the best thing to do with this feedback was share it with the schools, because most of those in attendance were high school students. And the same, we kept seeing the same thing come up in the comments. They wanted a place to talk and have facilitated conversations where they felt safe in sharing their opinions and thoughts with their peers. So, we are still kind of gathering that information and putting it in the best format for the schools to use, because they have the capability to have the students right there at their disposal and, lead facilitated conversations with them. So a lot of good came out of that presentation. And then last month, we had JC Good and Steve Johnson from Hang Up and Drive. And again, we had an outstanding turnout, lots of high school students, and that's who we really wanted to get, the message to about distracted driving. And so that, it was just, we were so grateful to have been able to bring those resources to the community. And then, as Ed mentioned, we are thrilled. Well, I know that, Ed talks about Kevin Hines all the time, because he was our keynote speaker at Save Life in 2016. And one of the reasons I brought him there was because when I went through the youth mental health first aid training, the video clips that are incorporated into that training of Kevin were so impactful to me. And I said, I have to bring him to Yorktown. And so we did. And people are still talking about him, 5 years later, about the impact that they, that he had on them. So I am really thrilled to bring him back, albeit virtually. But what that actually does, though, is that affords a quality Q&A session, which if he's just presenting, as a keynote, he presents and then he leaves. So this is really great. So this is also going to be a little bit different, because Kevin, in 2016, he shared his story. And for those who aren't aware of it, Kevin attempted suicide by jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge in 2000. He didn't want to do it. He was hoping beyond hope that there would be something that may get in his way. And he had made a promise to himself that if just one person acknowledged him while he was on his way to the bridge that morning, then he wouldn't do it. But it didn't happen. And he leapt off the bridge. And when he shares his story, he will tell you that as soon as his feet left that bridge, he didn't want to die. He didn't want to die. So his story is remarkable. It's a story about resilience and strength. He has made it his life's mission to share information on mental health, to try to reduce the stigma surrounding it. And what he has done now, he has incorporated into his presentation, not just sharing his story and the resiliency that he has experienced, but he has come up with wellness tools. He has worked with professionals over the years. And so you hear his story, but then he's actually leaving you with tools that can help you. It can help you with your mental wellness and well-being. It can help you to recognize if there's a friend or a family member that may be struggling, and how you can help. So this presentation is for everyone. It is for absolutely everyone. And everyone's going to come away from it feeling, I think, inspired and feeling armed with information to help themselves and those around them. And when I think about the time that we've all just been through and are slowly coming out of, and I think about our youth and the difficult situations that they have been in with school and not being with their peers, I mean, we are in a mental health crisis. And I can't think of a better gift to give to our community and the children and young adults that are wrapping up their end of school year. I can't think of a better gift than this, than to offer this presentation to them and have the opportunity to gain the tools and resources that Kevin is able to share. So that presentation, is next Thursday, June 10th at 7:30, and the link to register is on our website. It's right on our homepage. So if you go to allianceforsafekids.org, you will see it there. The registration is free. I do want to make everyone aware that this presentation is not going to be recorded and shared again. This is a live presentation. This is part of the agreement that I have with Kevin. But again, you have a unique opportunity to interact with him, ask questions. And for students, we are offering 2 hours of community service for those that attend the presentation and then thoughtfully complete the follow-up survey. And we've had good luck with by offering community service to students. We've had good luck with the turnout. And when I say thoughtfully complete a survey, we create a survey that is not just checking off boxes. I want some input and I want some answers to questions. And I have to tell you that the students have really been engaged. So I feel very confident that that we're going to get some really good information from them. And that's also going to be very helpful for us to know what students may feel that they, or anyone in the community may need more support, what kind of, mental health support, emotional support, wellness support they may need. Because, we're all in this together. We've been taking care of each other for a very long time. And as everyone is more physically healthy and, we can kind of move past, those worries, I'm just reading too many articles about the residual effects of mental health, and the impact of all of this is going to be around for a while. So I think that we owe it to ourselves and to one another to get as much good fact-based information as we can. So I would really implore everyone to register for that presentation. And then, if I may, I'd like to tell you a little bit about what we're doing with volunteers, or what we have been doing with volunteers. So, we've obviously, had made the shift to virtual volunteering, which, worked out wonderfully for us. But my gosh, when the Battle of Yorktown rolled around and that was our first opportunity to get outside and put Ask t-shirts on, I mean, the kids were so excited, and it was just wonderful. So what we're doing, I'm planning an Ask Summer of Service. So for 7 weeks this summer, and I'm working with Kira on this. She's my creative, when we come up with fun tasks for the kids. But we have a 7-week period that we're going to set a goal for the number of hours that we would like to achieve. Each week we'll have a theme, and we're going to offer both virtual and in-person opportunities for the students. So if anyone is interested in finding out more information about that, we'll be sharing details in the next few weeks. So if anyone would like to find more information about that, or anything that I mentioned, or the upcoming Kevin Hines presentation, just please feel free to email me at liz@allianceforsafekids.org.
Liz, you guys are doing such a great job. And this is exactly why the town and the county partner together to provide the necessary funding. Because, as you said, we are in a mental health crisis. There's just no doubt about it. And so bringing these important people like Kevin in is just, it's going to help someone. It
Absolutely.
really is. And so to be able to bring these resources to Yorktown and continue your great work, I just got to thank you. I mean, it really means so much. And forgive me, I should know this, but is it on the community calendar on the town's website? I'm sure
it is.
Okay, good.
It is on the town website, yes.
All right, good. So this way, people who want to see what's going on in town, they'll see it, and there's a link right there, and they can sign up. That's great.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, keep up the great work. You just keep bringing in such inspiring speakers. I've jumped on a couple of your presentations already this year. They've been phenomenal, and hopefully we'll make sure that we get through our work session in time, or our executive session in time, to go see Kevin as well. Because while I did not get to see him the last time he was here, the way that Ed talks about him and just how he was able to connect with people, I've been anxiously awaiting this opportunity. So I'm looking forward to participating as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Councilman Patel?
Please, this is not only the extension of DARE program. This is DARE plus plus. Thank you. You have contributed great to the well-being of our community and youth and young at heart both together. Thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you, Vishnu.
Thank you, Councilman Patel. Liz, again, keep up the great work as always. We appreciate all you do for our town, and especially for the youth of our community. You're just such a great resource. And like I said, I know that you're going to help at least one person with this Kevin Hines presentation. So I think it's something that everyone, whether you're a youth member of our community or a parent, definitely worth jumping on and hearing this great, inspiring story.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you all so much for your time.
Thanks, Liz.
Good night.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Alliance for Safe Kids, always doing great work in our community. They do.
Good night, Liz.
Awesome. Councilman Lachterman, we're going to go over to proclamations. Councilman Lachterman, you have a proclamation that you'd like to read in.
Yes. Whereas June is recognized as Gay Pride Month, and whereas the town of Yorktown recognizes many contributions to our community, county, state, and nation by lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning individuals, which have included advancements in business, medicine, law, education, music, sports, art, and culture. And whereas members of the LGBTQ community come from all parts of our community, regardless of color, ethnicity, religion, economic status, or gender. And whereas June is recognized as the Gay Pride Month because it marks the 52nd anniversary of the Stonewall Rebellion, an event accepted as the single most important event leading to the fight for LGBTQ rights in our nation. And whereas following the Stonewall Rebellion, demonstrations call for equal rights and freedoms for members of the LGBTQ community were made across the country. And whereas on June 12th, a similar demonstration will be held to celebrate the LGBTQ members and continue our collective efforts to ensure equality, freedom, and rights of all protected, preserved, and advanced. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the town of Yorktown recognizes and celebrates June as Gay Pride Month, and be it further resolved, the town of Yorktown recommits itself to support and accept all members of our community, regardless of race, religion, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, or preference, and be it further resolved, the town of Yorktown stands as a community of hope, generosity, and acceptance to everyone, regardless of religion, race, national origin, ethnicity, culture, or orientation.
Thank you, Councilman Ackerman.
Yep. So, as some of you do know, my oldest brother not only was gay, but a leader back in the 70s in college in organizing a gay student union to fight for gay rights. So it's with honor that I read that in his honor.
Thank you, Councilman Lachterman. We have a motion from Councilman Lachterman. You're going to make a motion?
So, motion to accept.
Second.
Councilman Patel, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Councilman Lachterman, for bringing that forward. And it's that last line that gets me every time, that the town of Yorktown stands as a community of hope, generosity, and acceptance to everyone. And I think that's just a very meaningful statement that we continue to uphold. We're going to go to personnel resolutions. With regrets, we're going to accept the resignation of William Kellner from the Tree Conservation Advisory Commission. We're going to appoint Library Director 3, Yvonne Check, and welcome her to the John C. Hart Memorial Library. Out of closed, we have another resolution that I will read for personnel. Be it resolved that Marissa Close of Croton on Hudson, New York is hereby appointed temporary recreation assistant, job class code 0269-02, effective June 7th, 2021, to be paid from the Yorktown CSEA salary schedule A1, Group 3, Step 1, which is $42,177 annually. Be it resolved, contingent upon successful completion of a drug test and reference checks, that Marissa Close will report to work at the Recreational Department on June 7th, 2021, and that this date will be used as the first date of temporary appointment. We have a motion to accept the three resolutions. Yes, sir.
Before we take a motion, I would like to just speak just a 30-second for Bill Kellner.
Yes.
May I? Bill, it is an honor that you are on our board, really. Your expertise in last 12 years contributed in the preservation of the tree, and your technical knowledge sharing with the entire community. Thank you, and best wishes to you and your family.
Councilman Patel, I couldn't agree with you more. Bill was in town hall today, and I got to see him. Told him again how, while I understood his resignation from the tree commission, which he served on for, I believe, 12 years, if my memory serves me correctly. The good news is that he still plans on quarterbacking Arbor Day for the town of Yorktown. So while he may no longer be on the Tree Advisory Commission, he still plans on playing a very important and active role within our community. He's been a leading force behind the Tree City USA designations. In fact, he was here today updating the plaque that's here at Town Hall. And so he's just been a great advocate and a great leader in our community. And so I agree with Councilman Patel. Bill has been a phenomenal leader, and we're going to miss him dearly. But we also know that he's not going too far, and he's going to remain an active member of our community. So thank you, Bill.
He'll definitely be missed.
So with that, I'm sorry, did someone make a motion?
Motion.
We have a motion. Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carry. All right, then we will welcome John McMullen, our poet laureate, to read a poem for us today. Good evening, John.
Good evening.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes, I just heard the talk about Gay Rights Month, and I was just before I came on this online with a poet, Rita Rusty Rose, who was a member of the Stonewall community then, and she's edited a book with another one on the Stonewall community. So if anyone's interested in having her speak, I could probably get it to virtually.
That'd be great, John. Thanks.
Okay. We'll read one that's a New York poem more than the local poem. The end of an era. 10 seconds on the clock. Phrase across the midline, across the bush of Bradley in the corner. Yes, and it counts. Marv Albert is retiring, the best sportscaster I have ever heard, and I've heard many. His career included voice of the New York Knicks, 1967 to 2004, New York Rangers, 1965 to 1995, New York Football Giants, 1973 to 1976, 9 Super Bowls, 9 NBA Finals, 4 Stanley Cup Finals, even Wimbledon tennis championships. Marv got around. The older brother of 2 of the broadcasts and the father of 1, Marv was not only the best basketball announcer of my time, but also the best hockey announcer. Teaming with both the big whistle, Bill Chadwick, and Sal Red Light Messina, Marv's he shoots and he scores still resonate in my ears. Marv Albert further holds a unique place in New York sports history as the primary announcer in the Knickerbockers NBA championships of 1969 and 1972-73, and the Rangers NHL championships in 1993-1994. The great players of New York whose names were brought to us by Marv: Reed, Fraser, Messier, Ewing, Gilbert, Lockhart, Jockman, Stocks, Jennings, Bertel, Richter, King, Van Pelt, Monroe, are etched in my memory, thanks in part to the wonderful voice of the great Marv Albert. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I remember growing up a big Patrick Ewing fan, and I still hear Marv Albert announcing those games down at the Garden, and legendary for sure. Incredible career.
I used to get seats every so often right next to the radio booth during the Ranger games, and his patented yes was just like amazing, and his son Kenny sounds just like him.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, amazingly like him. Yeah, same inflection of the voice, same calls. He used to sit in the booth, and he was a stat guy for a while.
Yeah. I just remember when the NBA was on NBC, and they had the theme song playing, and it was Marv Albert. That was like a whole thing. That was like your Saturday afternoon. And it was, but to John's point, it wasn't just the Knicks. It was the Rangers and the Giants, and his career is. I was quite upset to hear that he was retiring, just because of what he means to the sports world. But we do wish him well. And John, thanks for highlighting that. We appreciate it. All right, we're going to go over to Courtesy the Floor. As a reminder, folks don't need to wait for Courtesy the Floor. If they have an issue, please contact us at Town Hall. You can contact me directly, 914-962-5722, extension 200. You can contact the clerk's office. You can contact any of the town board members. All of our contact information is on the town's website. You can email us. You can call us. You can write us letters. But again, don't need to wait just for Courtesy the Floor. For Courtesy the Floor, as a reminder to those speaking tonight, to 3 minutes. And again, we ask that you keep your comments focused and respectful. Diana?
Our first caller is, I believe, Joanne Selleck.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, Joanne. Could you mute your either computer or
Yes.
or your I guess your TV, please? Thank you.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hi, Joanne. Yes, we can.
Hi, Joanne.
Hi, everybody. First of all, I'd like to. Is it clear?
Yes, we can hear you, Joanne.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Been away a long time. Hi. Good to be back. I want to compliment Yorktown for a wonderful Memorial Day parade. We were there, and it was so great seeing everybody out there. It was thank our veterans for making this country the best country in the world. Thank you. Now, I'm speaking to you tonight regarding legalization of marijuana in Yorktown. I am completely for its medicinal use that has helped many with acute pain, cancer, chemo, etc. However, having seen firsthand the devastating consequences of recreational marijuana, I am strongly opposed to it in Yorktown for the following reasons. My husband has family in Denver, Colorado. We visited in 2013. Never having been there, I was very impressed with the quality of life in the city. It was thriving, businesses doing well, welcoming many to the shopping areas. I was most impressed with how respectful people were of each other and the cleanliness of the city. We rode a bus running up and down the shopping area at no charge and thoroughly enjoyed our visit and felt completely safe. We returned in 2017 after the legalization of marijuana and expected to have the same experience. It was quite the contrary. I was astounded at the devastating changes I saw. We went back to the same areas. The first thing that struck me was the lack of cleanliness, not only on the streets, but also people's personal hygiene, the rise of homelessness, and the deterioration of the businesses. For example, I wanted a cup of coffee, so I went to a 7-Eleven and noticed a group of people acting inappropriately at the entrance. Feeling uncomfortable, I didn't go in. I know this is one very small example of how store owners suffered, but I wonder how many others felt the way I did at high-end stores and how much business was lost. There were also signs on storefronts that read, and I quote, "Free smells." My next observation was heartbreaking. I heard a little girl, about 6 years old, telling her mother she was hungry. Both her mother and others were smoking marijuana, clearly very high on the drug, and paid little or no attention to the child. It was absolutely appalling. We also rode the same bus we did previously, but with very few people. Those on the bus neglected their personal hygiene. The stench was unbearable. We got off. Now, for those of you that think that marijuana is not a gateway drug, I beg to differ. I'll share another incident. An Uber driver told us since marijuana was legalized, serious drug abuse increased dramatically. He often sees used needles on the streets and many more homeless. He's lived in Denver all his life and never saw this. As for the tax money that Denver collects, yes, it is most impressive, but at what price? I ask you. Okay, I have 2 more sentences. I ask you, would you like to see used needles on Veterans Road? How many children could be in the same place as that little girl I saw? Would you like to see
So-
signs on storefronts at the Yorktown Triangle that read free smells? Are you willing to send a message to our youth, subliminally encouraging the use of drugs? I hope not. I am a hard no in legalizing recreational marijuana in Yorktown.
Thank you, Ms.
I look forward to hearing your comments, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ms. Sillick. We appreciate your time and your comments. As a reminder, if we can,
Thank you.
Diana is going to let people know when their 3 minutes are up. If you can adhere to the 3-minute line, that would be most appreciative. Next up.
Is Alon Gilbert.
Good evening, Mr. Gilbert. How are you? Evening, Mr. Gilbert.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Okay, I'm glad you can hear me. I was just trying to figure out tonight how to work this, but I'm glad I did. The first thing I just want to say, and actually this came from John McMullen's comments about Marv Albert. I wasn't planning on saying this, but one of my favorite stories with Marv Albert, and it's true because I was listening to it when it happened. I was watching a Knick game, and there was evidently a bad call by the refs against the Knicks, and a significant obscene chant started to come out of the crowd at Madison Square Garden due to the bad call. And Marv Albert, in his coolness, started to say, and a chant of defense can be heard from the crowd. It was such a wonderful cover. Anyway, that's the first thing I wanted to say. But in all seriousness, the reason why I'm calling in is I want to thank the board for the content and the items that are on the agenda tonight, and the way you've handled all the issues, and speaking how important this past weekend was, recognition of the great sacrifice of our heroes in the military. And it's because of that we're able to exercise these rights in these meetings, and I'm able to speak courtesy of the floor. And again, that's so important to recognize. That's the first thing I wanted to say. The second was that, again, I'm going to put an exclamation point on a number of things that you said, and I don't want to belabor them except where they need to be belabored. And one of them is Bill Kellner, an amazing individual who has, like you say, devoted years to the town in his capacity. And I want to specifically, when I saw it was on the agenda, I wanted to specifically thank him for the work he put in while I was supervisor, dealing with the tree ordinance, and how he helped work collaboratively with so many, with our town departments, with members of the public, and other boards. And I just, again, it's going to be a loss. Thank God he's going to continue and work with in other capacities with the town. But I want to thank him specifically. And lastly, I also want to put so seriously, a exclamation point on the loss of maybe one of the sweetest individuals I came in contact with as I was supervisor, Sal Rivera. I love almost all the employees in the town. I had a great experience with everyone, but he was the one person that you could always count on with a smile on his face and a hug, and just the sweetest person. And my heart and my thoughts and prayers go out to his family, and it's a great loss to the town. And I just wanted to give those words. So thank you for allowing me the courtesy of the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert.
I had a little issue with the timer there.
Oh, thank you.
Kimberly Brennan.
Ms. Brennan, how are you?
Hello?
Hi, Ms. Brennan. How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good, thank you. How can we help you tonight?
I just had some questions on a previous thing on the dispensary that was discussed. And I wanted to know, well, Matt, you're a great person to ask this question to. As a dad, I wanted to know how you felt about it, being in Yorktown.
Okay. We'll answer questions at the end.
Okay. My other question, it's exactly it, is I wanted to know if we would be opting out of the dispensary as well as the cafes, the smoke cafes, as they call them. And if there will be a public in-person meeting or hearing for this, for the townspeople, because it is an important issue that I don't think can be handled over Zoom. And if we're not opting out, what kind of programs would be put in place or policies put in place, and recovery programs like for the police as far as dealing with intoxicated or impaired drivers and or around town, and recovery programs for those who can't handle what they do. And that was pretty much it. Those are my questions.
Okay, great.
Just hoping to get some clarity on it so I can get an idea of, how it works for our town, because the monetary gains don't seem to really be there at 3%, if that's what they are, because at $100,000, you're looking at $3,000. So it doesn't seem like it's really, worth it, I should say.
Great.
Thank you for your comments.
Appreciate your questions. We'll answer them at the end.
Okay.
Next is Susan Siegel.
Evening, Ms. Eagle.
Hello.
Good evening.
Yeah. Hi. Good evening to you all. Okay. Tonight, I'd like to talk about ethics, specifically the need to reform the town's ethics law. My comments are based on first-hand experience with the law as supervisor, as a council person, and also as a resident. Thanks to the availability of a free press in Yorktown and a courageous Yorktown resident, we now know that Yorktown does not have an independent ethics board. What we have is a law that gives the members of the town board the power to bury an ethics report when they don't like what the ethics board has to say, like reprimanding a member of the planning board for unethical behavior.
Hang on a minute. Hang on. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. Hang on a minute. Adam, would you address this, please? And have, Ms. Siegel is going totally out of bounds here with slurring the town board at this point. And I'm getting a little tired of it.
Can I continue, please? And please just subtract that away from my 3 minutes. Before I go on with my prepared comments, I'd like to just make a brief comment about what the supervisor said earlier about the town board's intent to hire a special counsel to investigate the whistleblower.
Do it within your 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, and before you said that your concern was that there was a violation of town policies and protocols. I would like you to identify specifically what written protocols and what policies. Also, before you spend town funds to hire a special counsel to investigate this, you might want to contact the Committee on Open Government and go through some findings. I think it was 2019 when the town board dealt with the issue of confidentiality and the whole issue of what laws were possibly broken. So please don't spend taxpayer money to repeat what has already been investigated. Let me continue. Okay. The independence of the ethics board has been an issue since 2010 when the current ethics law was adopted. I know because I was supervisor in 2010 and I had to compromise with some of my fellow board members on this issue in order to get the law passed. But it didn't take long for the problem inherent in that compromise to surface. In 2015, when I was a council person for 1 year, the chairman of the ethics board urged the town board to change the law so that the ethics board could make its findings public. After a long delay, the town board very grudgingly, started the process of reviewing the law, but nothing was accomplished by the time my term expired. And the next town board and the ones after that did nothing, which leads me to the following list of some of the reforms that are needed, urgently needed. 1, the ethics board must be able to make its findings public. A majority of the town board should not have the power to cover up and bury the decisions of the ethics board. 2, when the ethics board reaches a decision, the board should be required to notify the complainant of the board's decision. 3, barring unusual circumstances, the ethics board should be required to investigate and render a decision on the complaint or a request for an advisory opinion within a reasonable fixed period of time. And 4, the town board needs to consider whether it is appropriate to have members on advisory boards and commissions who have local business interests in the subject areas that the boards and commissions deal with. If the members of this town board sincerely believe that all town officials should be bound by a code of ethics,
Time's
then
up.
it's time for action. Let me just finish like the other person did. Not talk, not platitudes. It's time to amend the ethics code and create a truly independent ethiks board. There's no excuse why this work shouldn't start tomorrow and be ready for a public hearing this summer. Thank you very much.
Three comments. Next should be Jenny Menton and Tony Grasso.
There's Mr. Grasso. Mr. Grasso, how are you? Mr. Grasso, can you hear us? You just need to connect. There you go. Now we can hear you.
Yeah, I'm coming.
Grasso? Grasso, how are you?
Oh, I'm just fine. I hope everyone there is as fine as I am. Well,
We are. Thank you.
Start by saying, unfortunately, I turned off the computer last week and did not hear your comments on this marijuana law. Pardon?
No, you've got some feedback. I don't know if you have if you're watching it on the town's website or the.
I'm watching it on the town website. Is that wrong?
Yeah, just turn that off if you can. Just X out of that and
Is that better? Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Continue, Mr. Grasso, please.
Yes. Well, like I said, I turned off the computer last week and did not hear all the talking on the marijuana law. I want each of you to know totally I am against it 100%. Why? I have experience with this drug. Not with me, but with a grandchild. We almost lost her. She started at the...
We can hear you. Continue, if you can hear us.
Well, I didn't hear you talk. I hear you now.
Yep, we're here.
And to go forward, she was 11 years old when she started. By the time she was an adult, she was into the hard stuff. And the tragedy of it was my wife and I had her in one house after another to get her cured. And at the point when she was ready to come home, she'd run away and get caught again and have to put her back in. These places are not cheap to go to. We spent in excess of $100,000 to have this taken care of. Today, she is married, 2 lovely children, completely cured, works with drug people, and has a very thriving business. Yes, you can get out from under it, but it's up to you, the 5 of you, to put an end to this. We don't need any income from it. It's not much that you get. The lady before earlier was perfectly right. How much money can you generate? Certainly not enough to offset the tax of it. In fact, I'd rather pay taxes than get involved with something like this. Okay. As I understand it, it's 3% to the town, 2 to the state, and 1 to the county. Take any figure that you want. If you took $20,000, you're talking $600 a month. Times 12 months, It's hardly enough. But I'd rather pay the difference in taxes than this. And in fact, I received today and also over the weekend several telephone calls and personal visits from people in my neighborhood who have young children. And they've asked, Tony, how can we stop this? I says, I can't stop it, but you can. Go to the town board meetings, get on and let the supervisor and the 5 of them know the way you feel. Now, there are people who agree that it's good for medical purposes. Well, let me tell you, the last time people were giving out medication for other drugs, they find a way to get it. You don't need a prescription to get this. You can walk into some drugstore that's underhanded and probably get whatever you want. So please, do away with this. Don't even consider it. If you have to have a public meeting, I can assure you, I will be there to talk against this.
Thank you, Mr. Grasso. We appreciate your comments.
My time was up.
Yes, your buzzer went off.
I'm not going to ask for extra time like Mrs. Siegel did, but thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Grasso.
Next, we have Maria Donadio.
Okay.
Oh,
Ms. Donadio, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for joining us tonight. How can we help you?
Okay, well, I am calling because I am a homeowner in Jefferson Valley, and not sure if you're aware of the speeding problem that we have on East Main Street and have had for decades. We've come to the board many times with many meetings, trying to get some kind of resolution. First, we asked for a traffic light. That was too expensive. Then we tried for speed bumps. That was not feasible. Then they wanted to put a blinking yellow sign up. That was Mr. Grace's solution, but that never happened either. I actually went to to get the Freedom of Information letter from the Yorktown Police to give me a list of how many accidents there have occurred on East Main Street in the last 3 years. And I just received it this afternoon. There were 33 accidents between Perry Street and Hill Boulevard, which is probably about a half a mile. So 33 accidents in 3 years, average of 11 accidents a year. If you stand when I'm in front of my house, the traffic going by, no one does 30. No one does 30. It's 40, 45, even the school buses and the regular town buses. Nobody does the speed limit. And we had a hit and run there a couple years ago. Our neighbor, Marie Turner, was killed. And we thought, okay, maybe now they'll do something about it. Nothing's ever been done. I understand Jefferson Valley is not the prettiest of hamlets. We're kind of like the stepchild of Yorktown. But we do give a lot of revenue. I mean, you've got the JV Mall. We do provide a lot of revenue to the town. Give us a little something, a little couple of crumbs will make us happy, believe me. We're not asking for a lot. We're just asking for a little bit of what we give. We got sidewalks, 10, 15 years, 20 years ago, and on one side of the street and for like a quarter of the hamlet. Flags. It took me 2 years to get to begging, 2 years pleading for flags. We finally got flags thanks to Dave Paganelli. Dave's the only one who ever responds to my requests. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be going off, but it's just frustrating that nothing ever gets done to East Main. And my proposal would be, if the town is willing to look at this problem, sidewalks, 10, 15, would be to change the road pattern I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but 99.9% of the people speeding on that road aren't even residents of Yorktown. They're not even residents of Westchester County. They're all going down 6N to Mayapack and Putnam County. They're not Yorktown people, and they're speeding on our roads. Change the pattern. They want to speed? Let them go to New Route 6 on the other side of Osceola. Change it so they have to turn around, go over there, and speed to your heart's content. But don't
Maria,
come
thank you for
speeding
your
through our
comment.
hamlet. That's all.
Maria, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. We appreciate the comments. These are very important to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Jay Kopstein.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Kopstein.
Hope everybody is fine.
Very well.
First, on the comments about marijuana, we should opt out. Is marijuana always an entry drug? No, but it can be. And when it is, it's significant. We can do the research from Washington State, from Colorado, from Oregon. You find out that auto accidents go up significantly. And it's hard to do enforcement if you don't do a blood test. And the cost of training multiple police officers in nystagmus testing is expensive. There's an issue in the dog park. There's one individual there predominantly on the weekends who likes to smoke marijuana in front of the kids. He comes down from Stormville because he knows there's no enforcement in the park. And there can't be. We don't have the resources to do it. If you say something to him, he goes, it's legal now, even though it's not legal to smoke in our parks. On the ethics board, I'd like to remind Susan that I worked on those suggestions with Ira Foreman when she was town supervisor. But then again, when we had a complaint against one member of the town board who was a member of the party in control of the town board at that time, they didn't want to make the results public, and they didn't want to make the issues public. Times have changed, and now their opinions are changing. And a final comment is we have 5 members on the town council, one of whom is also the supervisor. They are all experts in their own right, including our town attorney and our highway superintendent. We do not have one expert on the board who's got expertise in everything under the sun. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kopstein.
Thank you, Jay.
Thanks, Jay.
And next is John McMullen.
Okay, Mr. McMullen, welcome back.
Yeah, I want to add something to what Maria said. I've spoken to Councilman Deanna over the years and to Dave Paganelli. There's a blind curve at East Main Street and Perry Street, and people come flying down 6N out of Mayapack and come around that curve 35, 40 miles an hour. Now, in speaking to Tom, I believe he knew someone that was killed there. Mm-hmm. It's just and we've asked for a number of things, whether it's a 4-way a stop sign or traffic light or one, but nothing's ever happened, and it's a very dangerous intersection. They come speeding around there, and there's people pulling out of the Valley Market, and very often they have no hope. They just have to either stop or be hit hard. And it's very difficult to get out of Perry Street because of the traffic coming around the curve. Councilman Deanna is aware of my concern, as is the highway superintendent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McMullen.
That is all I have.
Great. We have a motion to close courtesy of the floor.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Comments from the board?
With regard to Jefferson Valley and East Main, to both Maria and John, Dave and I are working on, and the Traffic Safety Council, committee, I should say, are working on some traffic calming devices that are going to, in traffic calming ways, to hopefully slow down the transgression of the commuters that plague that particular corridor. We're also looking into putting up other stop signs along that way for more safety of people pulling in and pulling out of the different roadways. So we are on it. As early as last month. We talked about different places for stop signs. We talked about, actually, John, we talked about the cutting back of that particular corner. I know we had talked about the person, your neighbor, I believe it is, that would dedicate a little bit of land so that we could make that site distance better and so on and so forth. So it's not something that's being overlooked. It's just some things that really have to be looked at hard to make sure we do it right, especially for that particular corridor. We're also looking at that on that corridor with our code enforcement and so forth to try and get it cleaned up, right, because it's beginning to look quite shabby. The parking lot across the street, Maria, I believe down the street from you just a little bit, is sometimes the home of unplated cars, et cetera, et cetera. And the old tradesman bar, I'm not sure. I think that's abandoned now, and it's just been sitting there dormant for I don't know how many years as the burned out house in back of that area. So they're beginning to be not only eyesores, but just attractive nuisances where, you know, kids are hanging out in them and so on. And we're also looking at the Osceola Lake property where at one point it almost looks like a contractor's yard. Right. So we are on it. Although you may not see us there, we have been around. We are looking at different things. We're talking to the property owners, and letters are going out, et cetera, to try to get some.
Well, can I just say one thing, Councilman? Thank you. I appreciate that.
Maria, I'm sorry, but courtesy, the floor's closed right now. The other thing I wanted to add, if we could, Ross Campbell, I think one of Maria's neighbors.
Yes, Ross.
Also reached out to us about some of the issues, so we are addressing those that Ross had raised. And again, Maria, my apologies. I'm not trying to be rude. Those are just the rules of courtesy of the floor since we closed courtesy. The other thing, Maria, if you didn't see John Tegeter's presentation at our last work session regarding the overlay districts, there is an overlay district proposed for Jefferson Valley. It's the Osceola Overlay District, and the purpose of which is, again, I think because we recognize a lot of things that you said, specifically with regards to the blight and unkept properties, but we are trying to spur reinvestment of that corridor. And we recognize the value of that corridor, the potential of that corridor, and we hope, and our objective is to encourage and entice redevelopment and reinvestment in the Osceola corridor through this proposed overlay district. So I would encourage you, please, if you haven't seen Mr. Tegeter, who's the director of planning, he gave a great presentation at our last work session, specifically about this and specifically about some of the enhancements to the Osceola corridor that you've touched upon. The other thing is, I don't know if you're aware, but we did recently bring on a traffic consultant for the town. And so this is something that we'll definitely raise with them to get on their radar to see if they have any suggestions or recommendations on some calming measures. Councilman Diana, again, running point in that regard as he sits as the liaison to the Traffic and Safety Committee. But I just want to emphasize the fact, I know, stepchild of Yorktown. There is no, I'm sorry, and I understand the sentiment, but no stepchild of Yorktown. We treat everyone and we try to give everyone due attention and address any matter that comes before us. We value the north side of town just as much as we value every side of town. So please don't feel that way. We will most certainly be addressing some of the things that you discussed with us, and I'm happy that you're here. This is exactly what we wanted to hear, and the purpose of courtesy of the floor is so you can raise these issues with us and we can formulate a proper response to them. But again, look at that Osceola overlay district. I think that's going to answer a lot of your questions. And Councilman Diana, 6N, it's this weird it's 6N, it's East Main, it's 6N, it's East Main, 6N, it's a number, it's a state road. East Main, it's a local road. Usually, unfortunately, Highway Superintendent Paganelli is not with us. Yeah. Can you shed some light on that? Do we need DOT to get involved if we're going to make some improvements over there?
I don't believe so. 6N gets starts at the three-way intersection by the Shell station.
Right.
So it only goes up a short way from there, and then you're in Putnam County.
Right. Well,
quite frankly,
then we don't need the bureaucracy of DOT is just atrocious.
Right.
So I just but we are working with setting up a meeting very soon with DOT to discuss a lot of the issues with town. So if it is an issue that we have to raise with DOT, we're going to have an opportunity to do it very soon. So I just wanted to make sure that wasn't something we had to raise with them.
We had talked about possibly a three-way stop there by the Shell station too, which would
coming in. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, coming in, going out. Which may
maybe that's something you can bring back to the Traffic Safety Committee and see what their feelings are towards it.
We're looking at that too, and then also up on top of the hill by the bowling alley. So,
right,
not just a blinking light.
Right. So, Maria, again, thank you for coming to the town board meeting. It's greatly appreciated, and we greatly appreciate what comments you brought to us. In regards to some of a lot of comments on the marijuana, I just want to make sure that I think there's some misinformation. The state law legalized recreational marijuana for people over 21. That's not something the town's deciding. That's out of our hands. The decision was made for the town by state legislators. To Kim's question, I've already read the Yorktown News months ago when it first passed. I provided exactly my thoughts on it, and a lot of it echoes what Mr. Kopstein said. There are significant enforcement issues. Our police, and we heard, and I believe, Tommy, we have one individual who is trained as a drug recognition
expert. Yeah,
drug recognition.
Just
expert.
one.
We only have one, so that's a significant enforcement issue that we're going to have to deal with. But I just want to make sure people understand: opt out does not mean opt out of the state law. We're not allowed to do that. So, irregardless of what the town does, recreational use of marijuana over the age of 21 is going to be allowed. That's the state law. So the simple question that the town is grappling with is the dispensary question. Dispensary, and to Kim's question, cafes, it's all the same. I believe, Adam, if you want to confirm that for me. But I believe the opt-out is one and the same. And so at our last work session, we heard from from all the town board members, and Mr. Rodriguez is working on the opt-out steps for us to take based on that conversation at the work session. So I think that provides enough information, but I just want to make sure people understand, regardless if we do opt out, if you're over 21, it's still legal. To Mr. Kopstein's point about the dog park, I already got a text message. There will be no smoking signs up at the dog park. We just got them in from one of our not-for-profit partners. There is no smoking allowed in town parks, and Mr. Rodriguez already confirmed the fact that does include the use of marijuana as well, regardless of your age. So that is a local law that's already in place. Just going over my notes quickly. Any other comments from the town board?
Yes.
I had a couple, Matt.
Sure. Let's go with Councilman Patel quickly, and then we'll go over to Councilman Lachman.
Okay. Fine.
No, Councilman Patel, please. What comments?
Let me just say, I have a really, issue, but I don't know how we can solve it. Is speeding. Red light, you stop. Flashing light, you slow down. On a green light, you go. It is enforcement's problem too, and it is not as simple. I will tell you, I live on a Willowway Street, and it's a very sharp turn. And I moved in 1979, and within a few years, 5-6 people died, and first year, the Thanksgiving Eve, father and son died. Next morning, I went to Henry Barnett. He was the assembly person. So many people die. After 5 people and 5 or 6 years, they put a flashing yellow light. And people still going it. And one of the guy, I met him twice, he had an accident, really. He was smoking cigarette and then drinking coffee, and he just ran, it is and down the road. It is not the road, it is your speed. And also, I want to add in a reference to this thing, if you have another kind of drugs along with the alcohol, you're looking for a death certificate. I'm telling you that, So if there is some need, in a prescription through the doctor, probably the better way to go than, extra change in a budget, One side we are talking about the lives of kids and, drug abuse and all that. And then who do you believe, so then they are going to make their own decision, So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Patel. Councilman Lachterman?
Sure. So, I think it was Joanne that mentioned marijuana as a gateway drug. I look at that gateway a little different, that not only is it a gateway for people using, but it has turned into a gateway for legalization. So in Oregon, they started with marijuana. They have now decriminalized all drugs, including cocaine, heroin, methamphetamines. So, you're not opening a door, you're kicking it off the hinges with this. And as we found out as a country, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. And prohibition was quite the example of that. So it's unfortunate that we're going there because, you know what, no matter how much those tax dollars are, you just can't put a price on our kids. So that taxable income means nothing compared to their lives. Lonnie, I have never heard a foul chant in the garden. I don't know what you're talking about. It never happened in Madison Square Garden, so your ears must not have been working. If I also could, I'll just mention Sal Rivera. I actually got to the wake late yesterday because I was running around on some personal items, and I got there about 8:30, and I had to park in the street because the parking lot was still full. So you could see how much that man was loved and how much he meant to his family, his community, his friends. It was, the building was filled and there were 100 people still outside. No one was leaving. So, Sal, not only to the Yorktown community, but to his home community, just an amazing man.
Yeah. I can tell you, Councilman, that at today's funeral, one of the largest I've ever been to. And I think that's just a testimony to the type of man that he was. And not a single seat was left. It was standing room in the back. And it's just such a beautiful ceremony and a tribute to the terrific person that he was. So just a terrible loss for us here in Yorktown and anyone who knew him.
Yeah. And then I did want to mention a little bit about the ethics law and the violation that we feel needs to be investigated. I find it ironic that former Supervisor Siegel is the one who passed the law, which did say that this is confidential and it's supposed to come to the town board for discussion, and the town board is supposed to look at it and make a decision. But bottom line is the ends don't justify a means. And I know Councilman Diana got very upset, rightfully so. It was like, oh, well, this is this nefarious plot and it's all about cover. We just had gotten the decision and discussed it in close to see what we wanted to do. So I don't know where Ms. Siegel is getting her information, but maybe there's more of a leak if she's telling us what was happening in a closed session, because we have to discuss it, and we owe that to every person who sits on one of our boards and volunteers their time, that everything is looked at 100%, and there's not a rush to judgment, which seems to be her calling card. The ends don't justify the means. And if you think that violating the laws that you set up is appropriate, there's definitely a problem there. I'm sorry. That's just my personal feeling on that.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments from the town board? Nope. Okay, then we will move on with our agenda. We have resolutions. We'll begin with a resolution to support Assembly Bill A1456. We discussed this last week with
Matt, if I may, though,
yes, sir.
Can we make a change to the resolution?
Yes. What would you like to amend?
So let me just find it. So I understand that today the Senate actually put in a bill as well.
Oh, good. What's the set? Do you have the bill number?
It's at S7114.
Great. So then it'll read that the resolution will read support passage of New York State Assembly Bill A1456 and Senate Bill S7114, designating the pedestrian bridge across the Taconic State Parkway as the Atomic Veterans Memorial Bridge.
Yes.
Great.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Then next resolution is to authorize the town clerk to advertise public hearing amending Chapter 275 of the Code of the Town of Yorktown entitled Vehicles and Traffic by adding full stop signs at the northwest corner of Granite Springs Road at its intersection with Quaker Church Road and at the northeast corner of Chesterfield Drive at the intersection of Cross Road.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Favor? Aye.
Aye.
We have Dan Ciarcia with us. I believe. Dan, are you there?
I'm here.
Great. We have a resolution to approve the MS4 stormwater management and tree removal permit. This is for the residents on 26 Allen Avenue, Panbar Realty. Dan, do you want to just quickly discuss with the board what the conditions included are?
This is an application for a single-family home on Allen Avenue. They're before you because of the amount of excavation involved in the application. So it's generally the standard conditions. There's an erosion control bond, and that's really the main condition. And then just a lot of conditions regarding our oversight of the project while it's in progress, and the requirements to control erosion, keep the road in front of the property clean at all times. So that's basically it. It's all enumerated in the resolution before you.
Mm-hmm. The only condition that I don't see, and I don't know if you can speak to it, Councilwoman Roker, again, because of the nature of Allen Avenue and how narrow it can be, and so correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't see it, but Councilwoman Roker was insistent upon having a police officer directing traffic.
Well, I suppose it doesn't have to do with the excavation, but we could certainly just add it as another provision to the resolution.
The other thing was on that, Supervisor and Dan, possibly staggering or staging of the truck or trucks that are going to be going up and down there. So when you don't have them lined up on the road waiting to either dump or receive fill.
Again, because it's Allen Ave. Otherwise, they'll just clog the whole artery.
Right. So that was the only two things that I remember that may have been have a police presence there if necessary, but just to have one truck up there at a time. I believe that site isn't big enough to get a tractor trailer down anyway. I think it'd be 10 wheelers.
I would imagine it'll be just the first few loads that get in, because once they get a couple of truckloads in there, they'll be able to pull off the road.
Yeah. Right.
It's just that initial, start of construction. I think, do we want to make it clear? Because I don't know, in terms of having police on site, it seems if we want to do that, it should only be necessary when there's, in the beginning, when there's
the commencement
possibility of blocking traffic.
Yeah, I think it should be a condition that must be met prior to the commencement of work that they've scheduled the police officer to be on site until such time that traffic will be able to flow freely.
Can I make a comment here? This is the second phase. There was a building done.
Correct.
And there was a many issue before. And one of the issue was the electrical wire. When the truck comes in, they move the electrical wire, because otherwise they may touch moving and going out the truck. And the hill is so steep, and very narrow road passing by the school bus and there are so many delivery trucks are coming one side and the other bigger side, and sometimes they go 18-wheeler delivering the goods around there. So if the construction is going on in the middle of them, the guy has to wait, or how we can manage the traffic during the school bus going by also.
Well, in the meantime, the wires are supposed to be high enough to let at least 13.6 pass underneath of them, number one. Number two, I think to Dan's point, the trucks are going to be coming in, dumping and going. If they're not going to be there for any major duration, maybe a couple of minutes, maybe for that first day, they might need police there till they can get off the road, as Dan was saying. But after that, it might be okay, but we'd have to do it on a case-by-case basis, I think.
Yeah, I think it'll be obvious once he establishes a driveway that he can back a truck in, because then after that, it's sort of no different than any other building lot we have in town. Once the trucks can pull in, I don't know that there's really any need for any special traffic coordination.
No, I think we can require the police presence until the driveway. I think the condition prior to the commencement of work is requiring the police presence until a driveway is established, or upon the request of the highway superintendent. Because if it is becoming an issue, then our highway superintendent should be able to request the police presence return to make sure that the safety of the road is kept intact.
Yeah, I think the milestone could probably be once he can fully back a truck onto the site and be totally clear of the edge of pavement.
Councilman Diane, does that work for you?
Oh yeah, that works for me. Not a problem. Dan, is a tracking pad necessary coming out of that place for that particular driveway?
Yeah, no, it's a standard condition because
okay.
Particularly in one like this where he's pulling in and out of there with triaxles, and it's ripe for tracking mud onto Allen Avenue.
Okay.
I have may I say something?
Yes, come on. Yes, Mr.
I have the questions in reference to the drainage, all the down from the bottom, the back side of the house being built. There's the second one. Is that water drainage issue is already covered, completely satisfactory to the town engineer?
Dan?
There's quite a few infiltrators the applicant had to install. So there really is a large amount of stormwater mitigation provided. So that was considered in our review of the application.
And there is no issue with the neighbor, because there are two neighbors. One is already, I went there, I see him there was some issue with, washing away they have a big pipe. The first building built, and then the bottom, the owner, and the next one is even a flat area. So I would go check it out, as long as you are satisfied, that,
Dan, you're satisfied with the runoff mitigation?
Yeah, there's quite a few dry wells or infiltrators he's installing to mitigate the increase in runoff.
Great. Actually, what they've installed there, from what I can remember, the plans and what we saw on the board here, is that it's actually going to help the downstream people who may have a little wetness in their yard.
So, yeah, I mean, the goal is to, we really want to protect the people from an increase in runoff. And as Councilman Patel pointed out, that there'll be downspouts and there'll be runoff from the rooftop and the driveway, and that'll all be conveyed into this new stormwater system behind the house.
So then, so the only conditions that we need to add are the police presence until a full truck can be pulled into the driveway. Correct?
Yes.
I have a last question for the.
Yes, Councilman.
First house was built, and there were the two lots from the so they built it one. Why don't they follow the same regulations? All the environmental and everything else. Then it will not be delay in your construction like that. So and it's the same builder, isn't it? So this is the way you can expedite your process of doing your work and maybe finish the work safely,
These the same builders, or it's two different
Same
builders?
one, same guy, there's a
It's a
second
different
one.
builder and a different engineer.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm sorry, Councilman Diana, was there a second amendment we wanted to make there? So we said it was the first with the police, and you remember if there was there a second that we needed? Diana, were you writing that down?
I just mentioned about a tracking pad, but that was just a question.
Staging of trucks.
Oh, staging. I'm sorry.
Thank you. So we have the two conditions that must be met. The first, prior to the commencement of work, is the scheduling of police until the driveway is established that allows for a full truck to enter, and then the condition that must be met during construction would be the staging of trucks. Does that suffice? Is that?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I mean, I guess to make clear, I think because I don't want to get into one of these situations where we're being unreasonable. I mean, the one thought comes to mind is, I think we're talking about the triaxle dump trucks to deliver soil to the site. Anticipating that there may be a small pickup truck when they first go in there with chainsaws to start putting in erosion control and so forth. So, a pickup truck pulled off to the side of the road is our intention that scenario would require police supervision.
No, I don't think so. As long as they're off the road. Really.
But I want to be clear about it so that we don't find ourselves, getting calls on, a pickup truck parked outside if our intention really is the large construction vehicles.
It's just the large construction vehicles, for what I can see, right? The supervisor that with
Correct.
the.
As long as those large construction vehicles are off the road and not impeding traffic, that's what we're trying. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not the carpenters coming in or the masons coming in with their, pickups or vans or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I think by the time they're showing up, they'll be able to pull in.
Yeah.
Diana, were you able to capture? Were you able to capture those conditions? All right, good. All right, so with the addition of those two amendments, any other questions for our engineer on this particular resolution?
I think we're good.
Then do we have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, then we also have here to approve, this one was a fun one. We're going to approve a release of a wetland bond permit number WP-126-04 in the amount of $15,000 for work done at 383 Illington Road. That work was, this was deposited back in 2006. We have a motion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Authorize the comptroller to process the following budget transfer. This is the budget transfer to fund the installation of security cameras at Railroad Park. Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Just a second, may I ask the question? How much was the total?
$8,500.
$8,500 as listed in the.
So moved.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We have a resolution to approve the increase in tree truck purchase for the highway department. This is an increase of $13,941. Motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Next, we have thank you. Next, we have a resolution to approve the reduction in the performance bond for Zappico Construction in the amount of $480,000 for work done at Orchard View subdivision located on Sherry Drive. So we are reducing, Dan, we're reducing this to $480,000?
No, you're reducing it to $20,000.
$20,000. That's what I want.
Right.
Just to be sure. So we're reducing this to $20,000. We have a motion?
So moved.
So, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, to authorize the comptroller to pay out the cash value of unused time to Maria Rivera, Salvador Rivera's spouse, as of the date he was deceased.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approve a tax certiorari proceedings for parcel known as Section 37.14, Block 1, Lot 45, and 40s, Block 1, Lot 45 and 46, 2013 and 2025 Crampon Road. We have a motion.
I have a question. I want to know the name of that property. You know, is it business or home or something like that?
Yes, we discussed this in closed last week, Councilman Patel, with the assessor.
Okay.
Adam,
No, because what happens is sometimes, you know, you give only section parcel. You don't even know what it is, you know.
Mr. Rodriguez, are we able to?
Property number is okay.
Property. Can I state the name of the property?
Yeah, they just sometime, you know, mention because.
Johnny, this is the Falkenberg property.
Okay.
Over at,
Yeah.
over at Cablevision. Okay, we have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And lastly, to accept the monthly reports for building department, finance department, receiver taxes, and town clerk.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And with that concludes business before the board. Is making sure I'm going to check with the town clerk. Did I miss anything there?
No, you got everything.
Mr. Rodriguez, we good? Yes? All right. With that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
No move.
No.
No.
We got to stay on. It's not late enough
No
yet.
second. We'll stay on.
You can stay on.
Aye.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Third.
All in favor? Aye.
You guys are rivaling Gordon Fine.
No, that quick.
Stay well, Yorktown. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week.
Good
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.